The crazy time in Formula One keeps getting crazier, and it looks like we're going to see some of the biggest surprises that the Formula One world has seen lately. With Antonelli's seat being questioned, a shocking twist could see Russell and Verstappen become teammates. On top of that, Red Bull's problems could see all of their drivers get mixed up. So, who will drive where in 2026? And more importantly, who's the biggest winner and loser at the end of it? There has been a huge change in the drivers' lineup in Formula One's expectations as Kimi Antonelli is now suddenly in big trouble of losing his Mercedes seat to Verstappen. Even though everyone expected that Russell was going to get fired if this crazy situation was going to happen, there has been a new turn of events that would put Kimi in Alpine. The French team is going to use Mercedes engines from 2026 onwards, and it would be a great chance for them to get some points in the middle of the pack, as well as let Kimi get a lot more confidence before being brought back to Mercedes. Of course, this has a lot of question marks written all over it, because Kimi is doing a great job in Mercedes. Why would you want to hurt his confidence by putting him in a team after knowing that the Silver Arrows will probably fight up front for the championship? Yes, when a driver of Max's skill becomes available, no one is safe out there. But at the end of the day, the main lineup that you have is just too good to be thrown away. Still, it's the only way to see who's better in the same car, Russell or Verstappen. It's also well-deserved for Russell, who came to where he is right now thanks to the tough path he's had with Williams and being Hamilton's teammate. Kimi, on the other hand, might have been moved up a bit too early for Mercedes' liking, which was caused by Hamilton's leaving. Putting two tough competitors in one team is not usually ending well for the team's friendship, but Russell welcomed anyone who is brave enough to be his teammate, Max included. So whether or not this will happen the next couple of weeks will tell. And of course, we wouldn't be talking about Antonelli to Alpine if it weren't for Max to Mercedes. The four-time world champion said loud and clear that he is not happy with how the car is being developed and the technical upgrades that are being introduced, weekend after weekend on the RB21. Ever since Newey's leaving, the problems have gotten worse to the point of her being fired right away. And this made us believe that Max is the last person that needs to leave before this team has entered a complete mess phase. You can be sure that if Red Bull's problems continue, Max won't be part of it. So, the coincidence of Max and Wolff being in Sardinia is just too much to believe in. Wolff was very clear about what he wants. He is going to chase for Verstappen for as long as he is available, and that is not going to change no matter who his drivers are. This puts Russell in a very bad position, despite the new developments about Antonelli's arrival in Alpine, because the first one is a proper report, while the second one is yet to be proven to a greater extent. Let's not forget that Antonelli has a contract with Mercedes for 2026, so he is very unlikely to be put under this pressure compared to Russell, despite the Brit having an amazing performance recently and being a race winner in 2025. The latest report says that Verstappen and Wolff didn't meet up in Sardinia, and again, I find this very hard to believe. How big is the chance that he and the Austrian team principal are going to be at the same place in the world at the same time and not meet? Especially with all the rumors going around and with her now out of the way, Verstappen has one of two choices: stay with Red Bull and help them rebuild from scratch, or join Mercedes and continue winning more championships under the newly regulated era. And all of this is going to destroy Red Bull. The Austrian team are going to suffer a lot from the latest changes, and they might be forced to rebuild from ground zero. What does this rebuild mean? It's literally promoting two drivers from their youth team and believes that they have what it takes to bring them to the promised land after Verstappen's leaving. In order for this to happen, Max needs to make the decision first. Leave Red Bull, while he's still in a position from which he can choose. And if he does that, the Austrian team would have to promote Hadjar. The Frenchman has proven to be the best option to replace Max, because of a very simple reason. He is performing very well in racing bulls, but, judging from past history, it has been proven that it's not really an upgrade to sit next to Max, or in Max's car from their sister team. Tsunoda did very well with the Italian team, and once promoted to Red Bull, he scored only 7 points. On the other hand, Lawson has 12 points with Racing Bulls after the demotion, and is now definitely pushing the story that Red Bull is a team with a car that can be driven by a handful of drivers. However, I don't think they are ready to go with an outside hire. What this would mean is that Hadjar and Lindblad will both be given the chance to prove their worth in Red Bull, because if Verstappen leaves, I don't think they have too much to lose. It's a low-risk, high-reward situation in which Red Bull would see the talents of Arvid Lindblad, who is said to be the next Verstappen, in the team, and Hadjar, who holds tremendous potential that needs to be polished with the right team. Be that as it may, Red Bull would have to be very careful about their choices, because now that they'll enter a new era with their power units, they might want a bit of experience in terms of at least one driver. It's an approach that has been used by teams like Audi and probably Cadillac. So, from this point of view, I think Red Bull could be put in the same category as these two teams when it comes to their drivers' lineup if they're left without Max. And if you were to ask Hadjar, he will be a bit careful about the seat next to Max, because he knows the four-time world champion is very fast in that car. So, the promotion could actually destroy his career as we know it. Talking more about this, I just said, I think Max in the Red Bull is very fast. It's his car, and he drives it to the absolute limit. It's a more efficient car in high-speed corners. It's a faster car, but it's apparently hard to use most of it. At the moment, it's not like I am in total control and I'm scoring points every weekend. There's still lots to learn. So, it makes more sense to stay where I am at the moment, that's for sure. Yes, there is always the chance to put Lindblad at Racing Bulls first. But judging how big the difference is between these two cars, maybe it would be better to move him to Red Bull immediately. Red Bull have tons of headaches they have to deal with right now, and Max Verstappen holds the solution to all of them. But at the end of the day, they've brought this to themselves. Another team that would be very interesting to watch closely is Cadillac. The American squad are now said to sign Bottas or Perez as one of their veteran drivers. And even though there is a big probability both of them will drive for Cadillac, they could move in another direction. One of those directions is to sign Mick Schumacher, who's been looking for a comeback story ever since he was fired by Haas back in 2022. The German driver had some opportunities to return to F1, but all of them failed. But that doesn't mean Cadillac is going to give up on him just because other teams have. A driver who has the most to prove to the Formula One world is one who has been questioned a lot and hasn't been given a proper chance. Mick has experience with driving Ferrari engines for this point of view. I can clearly see why Cadillac is eager to sign him. You could argue that he is one of the best options from the youth pool. And if it's not for Mick, the next best option would be Tsunoda or Tsunoda if the Japanese driver is relieved from his duties in Red Bull. All of this is putting the entire silly season in a very great position for us to watch, and I can't wait to see who ends up where. I think you already understood who the biggest loser here is. Red Bull. They are falling apart on every side possible, and they have no idea what's going to happen in the following period because of the instability that is still present in the internal circles of the team. With all this in mind, what transfer do you think will raise the most questions and shock everyone on the grid? And more importantly, do you believe that Max and Mercedes is a duo bound to happen? Let us know in the comments below. And once you do that, make sure to click on the video that appears on your screen right now. The crazy time in Formula One keeps getting crazier, and it looks like we're going to see some of the biggest surprises that the Formula One world has seen lately. With Antonelli's seat being questioned, a shocking twist could see Russell and Verstappen become teammates. On top of that, Red Bull's problems could see all of their drivers get mixed up. So, who will drive where in 2026? And more importantly, who's the biggest winner and loser at the end of it? There has been a huge change in the drivers' lineup in Formula One's expectations as Kimi Antonelli is now suddenly in big trouble of losing his Mercedes seat to Verstappen, even though everyone expected that Russell was going to get fired if this crazy situation was going to happen. There has been a new turn of events that would put Kimi in Alpine. The French team is going to use Mercedes engines from 2026 onwards, and it would be a great chance for them to get some points in the middle of the pack, as well as let Kimi get a lot more confidence before being brought back to Mercedes. Of course, this has a lot of question marks written all over it because Kimi is doing a great. The crazy time in Formula One keeps getting crazier, and it looks like we're going to see some of the biggest surprises that the Formula One world has seen lately. With Antonelli's seat being questioned, a shocking twist could see